Huh? Gohan? Oh no! Darn it, Gohan! Why'd you go alone?
The tragedy of Future Gohan has got to be one of the saddest things in all of Dragon Ball. So let's talk about it. I grew up with Dragon Ball. I assume most of you guys actually grew up with Dragon Ball as well. So it had some sort of influence on you. It's probably one of my favorite animes of all time. People say it generally has no plot, has no story. But there is a story. And rewatching the Future Trunks special, it got me thinking. I kind of want to do a Gohan video. Also, it doesn't really help that I've been watching a bunch of Future Gohan edits on TikTok, and it got me thinking, damn, let's just talk about him. But everyone always says Future Trunks had it the hardest. Yeah, he grew up with pretty much anybody. He lived in a world of chaos. He lived in a world of tragedy. However, Future Gohan is often overlooked as being the pinnacle of like the sole surviving Z fighter. The dude was pretty much like 12 and he had to raise a whole ass kid by himself. He hasn't really talked to his mother. Everyone that he knows is dead. His father died at a very young age from the heart virus. Everyone he knew around him died. And even with all the training that he did, he could never go past Super Saiyan 2. He was always stuck at Super Saiyan, the pinnacle of power at that current point in time, and it was never enough to defeat the androids. Even after 20 plus years of training, he could never move on from Super Saiyan. He was always stuck at that level. I've seen theories about why he never got stronger, why he was always so weak, and due to the fact that stress, malnutrition, because you guys know Saiyans have to eat a lot, and if they don't eat a lot, then they grow weaker. Kind of like the human body. If you don't eat, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna grow, you're not gonna get stronger. I assume that's what happened with Future Gohan as well. His potential was pretty much diminished because every day he was fighting for survival, he was fighting to get food, he was struggling, moving around all the time from a threat that honestly couldn't be stopped. Just think about it like this: unstoppable machines, yes, hunting you everywhere you go, eliminating cities, and all that mental toll on you, especially seeing all your friends die in battle, knowing you are the last hope of humanity, knowing you have to raise potentially the last surviving Saiyan in the universe to fight a menace that at this point seems unstoppable, that seems very much worse off than Frieza. I really like Future Gohan's backstory. I think a lot of people agree Future Gohan is a very, very underutilized character. I really wish we got to see more of him, but it's also kind of good that we didn't really get to see too much of him as well, because this character seems like the type that we don't really need to see a lot of him, to be honest. But Future Gohan, he had it quite hard. Like, if you guys remember, he was pretty much like 3 years old whenever he fought. It was like 3 or 4 whenever Piccolo took him away to go to training, like essentially kidnapped them. And when he was like 5, he had to fight the Saiyans. When he was like 8, he literally had to fight Frieza. And then this original timeline, yes, this is the original timeline, by the way, he had to fight the androids at pretty much 10/11 years old and just fight them and see everyone that they knew die. His father passed away from the heart virus. When he died, that's pretty much game over. That's pretty much when the world self-destructed at the threat of the androids. Just imagine being a kid knowing, oh shit, I have to raise another kid, and this kid and myself were the last surviving Saiyans in the rest of the galaxy, in the rest of the universe. There is no one that is going to help us. He went through every day a struggle. You know, like yesterday watching the special when he sacrifices himself, and I've seen some of the gameplay from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot where they kind of do an extended version of Future Gohan fighting the androids. I think it's very poetic and it's very sad that he went out the way that he did. He lost his arm earlier, like in the Future Trunks special. He lost his arm trying to save Trunks from the androids, and he never really blamed Trunks. He kind of blamed it on himself for not being strong enough, because if he was strong enough, he would have never lost his arm. He would have never been so weak. He often blames himself for not being as strong as he is, but the pride that he has in Trunks is honestly amazing. It's almost as a big brother little brother type of relationship, but I get in the series it was more of a master student relationship. It was pretty nice. I love that dynamic between both of them, and you can tell Gohan had a massive impact on future Trunks, because every time he went back in time, he always cared about younger Gohan, and he looked up after him. Even in Super, we got to see how Trunks reminisce about seeing Gohan in his adult form, in this adult version where he has both of his arms, where he has a family. He's not struggling, because during Super is essentially the same time the original timeline takes place, because they spend the, not the main continuity, but the current continuity we're following in Dragon Ball is essentially the secondary timeline where everything goes good because future Trunks came in and helped. But the original timeline is terrible. Like, everyone died. There is no future. There is no hope. And if future Gohan could have lived to see a different version of himself, a different version that's happier, one that has a family, one that was able to be a scholar, I think he would be really happy. I think he would be happy to the fact that he met Videl. He met someone that honestly cares about him, and he doesn't have to see them struggle for food or die every other day, or see people he knows and civilians he knows die countless of days. I believe future Gohan is honestly an amazing character. He's kind of a complex character. He grew up as a child soldier, and he died that way. He died fighting his entire life. He never really knew peace, because at the end of the day, he's pretty much a scared boy. And man's body, he's still that scared boy he was when he was 4 years old, when he was being kidnapped. He's just been there fighting this entire fight alone, and the death of him was probably the saddest thing in Dragon Ball. Like, you seeing him go out that way, and then for Trunks to pick him up to find his dead body, only to achieve Super Saiyan, and it still wasn't enough for him to defeat the androids. He had to go back in time to get help. It's very tragic. So, like, the tragedy of future Gohan cannot be understated. He is one of the greatest characters in all of Dragon Ball. Even though we really didn't get to see too much of the future version of him, what we got to saw was amazing, and then left an impact. And I think the fact that there's no Dragon Balls in the future continuity is really amazing, because it gives us the ability to, like, have stories like this where the stakes do feel high, and when someone dies, it hits you very emotionally. Like, every time I see an edit of Gohan, like future Gohan, and I see the comparisons between his future version and his present version, it makes me sad that Gohan could have had a wonderful life. He could have had a great life, but some mad scientists had to ruin it and pretty much kill off everyone that they knew, and he had to be stuck in 20 years worth of tragedy. But that's just my thoughts on the tragedy of future Trunks. That's just my thoughts on the tragedy of future Gohan. It's very sad, and yeah, but this is my second Dragon Ball video I've ever made, so I think I'm gonna do more Dragon Ball videos, because it's been a while since I don't think I've ever talked about Dragon Ball. So that being said, do you guys like future Gohan? Do you guys hate him? Let me know down in the comments below. So peace.